Hello, hello, hello. How is everybody? Let's switch over to the other screen. And it appears I am here right by myself. I'm hoping some people will come on in here. A little bit of an impromptu show. It is my regular scheduled Wednesday night live show. And as usual, I'm already messing up. It is my regular scheduled. Had to go over to the other screen and mute the YouTube stream because I am streaming from StreamYard. But as I was saying, it's an impromptu show. It's my normal Wednesday night scheduled show, but it's the holiday. Well, tomorrow is, and a lot of people are busy. So I wasn't sure I was going to do a show tonight, had no notes for what to talk about tonight. And then something happened over the course of the last few days that, well, it got to me and it gave me a good talking point for tonight. Hey, Christopher, how are you? I'm sitting here talking to myself till you showed up. Hey, Ping, how are you? But yeah, I'm sure everybody saw the title, Bad Buys, How to Avoid Them, How to Avoid the Bait and Switch. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight, how to avoid a bad buy. And even for people that have been at this for a long time, we all still make bad buys or end up with inventory that just isn't worth listing. Or what I really wanted to talk about, though, is people out there who take advantage of us. So we are going to wait for a few more people to come in. Ping, Christopher, did either one of you have any good sales this week? Had like 3 sales right as I was starting the show. Sold a VCR, a bread pedal, bread machine pedal, and what else was it? Let me get this open here. I know there was one other thing. Actually, there's 4. So a bread machine pedal, a VCR, a Emperor Zurg 6-inch action figure, and a Fitz and Floyd little counter display. Hey, Kristen, how are you? Yeah. Everybody looking forward to eating tomorrow? I'll be smoking 2 turkeys. And I got lazy. I bought a pie. What is on my screen? Oh, that's Kristen. What is that third little icon you have on your? Oh, yeah. Ping, that happened to me recently. I sent a guy the wrong golf club. Oh, he was mad. As soon as he told me, though, I went and pulled the correct golf club and had it shipped out to him within an hour. And then the guy left me negative feedback 2 days later saying I hadn't shipped it, even though I gave him the tracking number and he could see it was being on its way to him. That's the first negative I've had in over 25 years of doing this. So I sent him a request to change it, and sure enough, he changed it. Then he opened a case on me. I just washed my hands of it at that point and just gave him his money back and blocked him. Hey, the Pickin' Preacher is here. Nice to see you. Oh, Kristen, that thing is tiny. I couldn't see it on my screen. Ooh, I had another thing happen yesterday morning. So I get up in the mornings, I grab a cup of coffee, and I checked for offers, and I go through my ending today list, see if there's anything need to be revised, prices changed, that sort of thing. And then I come out here to the shop to do my packing. I only had two things going out, and I knew right where both of them were at, so I went ahead and grabbed both of them. Went ahead and packed them up, weighed them, sat down at the computer to print out the shipping labels. And lo and behold, one of the two items that I sold is still here. Anyway, as I was about to print out the shipping label, I see the message from the buyer. I will buy this if you tell me it'll fit my machine. Like, you've already bought it. My numbers are not the same. I'm like, oh, Lord, here we go. So I sent her a message back and said, look, you've already committed to buying this thing. In fact, you've already paid for it. If I were you, I would not buy this if the numbers don't match. And thankfully, she canceled it. But I was probably a little bit rude, and so I got called out by somebody on it. But that's okay. You know what, Kristen? When I go back over to the YouTube stream, I can see the squirrel, but for some reason it doesn't show up on StreamYard. Whew. I was kind of hoping. I sent an invite for a guest tonight, and she's probably busy, probably in church. Uh, but hopefully she'll get the invite before we call it a night. Yeah, when you have a question like that, before you hit buy it now and actually pay for something, you should probably ask the questions first. In fact, when I run auctions, that's one of my blurbs that I put on every auction. Please ask any questions you may have before bidding. Yeah, it is a super, super busy week. Pig and Preacher, I hope you get better quicker. It has been a super busy week for me, and it's only halfway over. I've got a lot left to do for the week. I have a ton of stuff I have got to get listed because this is the week. If you don't have it listed, get it listed. Yeah, I don't know why. And then, she asked after the fact, and the way she asked it, hey, Chris, how are you? Flip the world. Good luck on that whatnot, brother. I hope you make a lot of money. But the way she asked that question, it was like, I'll back out of this deal if it's not right. And I'm like, well, you should have known it wasn't right. Didn't set with me too well. So, how many of you have made bad buys? You got any recent ones that you wish you hadn't bought? For me, the worst buys is when I buy something and the market changes immediately after I buy it. I've probably got about 100 to 200 items on these shelves units behind me that were just straight up bad buys. Yeah. One of the other things, I had a sale this week and I searched high and low looking for the item. And I remembered that two other times in the last several weeks, I've had items that I couldn't find. I go back and look and they had already sold before. So check your listings for double listings, especially things that had already sold. This morning, in fact, I had an item go out. It was part of a multi quantity listing. And I know for a fact I only had one lot out of that multi-quantity listing still available, but it said there were four, which is what I started with. So I went and double checked, and sure enough, it still showed quantity of three because one had just sold. So I had to search through my entire store and find that listing and end it. Yeah, retail arbitrage is not for me. I I don't know. I watched quite a few videos on it, and I don't know how these guys or people go into these retail stores and find 2 and 3 cartfuls of stuff, buy it and ship it, and they're only making 10 or 15%. I don't. Man, the numbers just don't look good to me. I don't even look for retail arbitrage anymore. I know Lowe's and Home Depot. There are a lot of videos out there of people going in there and doing it, but the numbers just don't add up for me. Right now, I think Olakai shoes are a bad buy. The first several pair I bought and listed sold super fast for good profit. But I've got several pair sitting in my store that just are not moving, and I've even lowered the prices on them. Yeah, I seen a lot of that happening too, Chris. These stores are cracking down on resellers, and it just doesn't make sense to me. You put something out for sale and you put a price tag on it. If I want to buy every one of them, I should be allowed to buy every one of them. Ping, how do you go about finding items that make sense to buy at retail arbitrage prices? Because the profit margins on every item I've found so far have been slim to none. In fact, a lot of clearance items are priced above eBay prices. Hey, there's Little Miss Q. Well, you listen. Don't try to type while you're driving. I am going to check on something real quick, y'all, and see if our guest has, or hopefully guest, has gotten the message. Go to there and there. No, I don't think our guest has seen it. Now, reselling for me, or selling anything, it's all a game of percentages. And it's amazing how many people have their hands in your pocket when you start selling. The platform, oh my God, the fees. A lot of people don't understand that there's more fees than just the final value fee that you get charged. I mean, you got a store fee, you've got a 25 or 35, whatever it is right now, cent charge for every transaction. Every time money moves, they charge you a little more. They take a cut of everything, including your shipping, and it all adds up pretty quick. Ping, do you get an extra discount being a former employee of that store? Hey, Shay, how are you? Shay, I thought of you the other day. I bought 2 bins full of toys, and I am not a toy guy. I don't know that much about them. I like buying the big bulk buys of them, though, and then just go through and Google Lens all of them. But I found let's see, it's a Star Wars Transformer collab. and there's at least 3 figures in there, and I've got to see if I can put the damn things back together. Oh, Shay, give me just a second. I'm going to grab the 2 boxes. They're not really big boxes. There's a couple of totes, small ones. This first one has, there's a note on the end of it that says Battle Castle Men. And I think it's Imaginext. There's a castle. There's figurines. There's all the accessories. There's a spaceship. I don't think that's part of it, but there's all these little figurines. But it's just full of stuff like the little battle axes. Just all kind of stuff. I don't know. All right. Well, Ping, if that's working for you, good for you. I just can't find it. Anyway, the other box that I got is the one I'm really excited about, and it's got Transformers Star Wars collaboration figures. Pretty sure that transforms into the Millennium Falcon. Oh, that one just came apart in my hand. I know it's a transformer of some kind, but I don't think this one is the Star Wars one. I got all the parts and pieces, and I even got the directions, so hopefully there's something good in there. I think I looked up the Millennium Falcon one, and it sells for $30 or $40. And I paid $9.50 for that box. The Imaginext Castle Men thingy, I think I paid $4 for that. So I think my chat may be frozen. All right, somebody say something. I can't tell if I'm still live or not. Okay, Ping, thank you. So I am still live. What was your last message? Oh. All right, everybody. Yep, I am still live. Julian. Hey, Julian is here. Brother, you snuck in on me. I didn't see you. Did you get the part in for that telescope yet? Julian, I got something I want to show you. I know it's right here somewhere. Oh, there it is. Julian, have you ever seen one of the oh, you want to see the Rolex? All right, we'll pull that out next. You ever seen a top spin golf putter? It's got writing on it. I don't know if it'll show up on the camera or not. Overspin. Hey, Alex, good to see you, buddy. What the camera doesn't show y'all is that I'm having to step over everything to keep from tripping. All right. I actually have to end this listing because I've got offers out because I have to redo the pictures. The pictures turned out just terrible, but there's the box. Hey, Gulf Coast Pickers is here. So there's the inner box. There's the papers. And sacrifice a label here. There it is. It is a Rolex Datejust with a Jubilee bracelet. Even got the original hang tag, the little foam piece that covers the watch, and the little polishing cloth. By the way, you guys keep your eyes out for these little polishing cloths because they sell. They're not a lot of money, but you can usually get around $20, $25 for just the polishing cloth. Empty boxes, Rolex boxes can bring upwards of $150. Dang, Alex, you bought out another record store? Yeah, it's a pretty nice watch, and it's from 1994, and it's in excellent condition. And I just finished refurbishing an Omega wristwatch today. It's kind of a rare one. It's not a super high dollar one, but it'll bring a little bit more than your average Omega wristwatch. It's pretty nice. Manual wind. It should bring somewhere between $350 and $500. I really like the Omega wristwatches. One of these days, I'll actually keep one for myself. All right, the real reason for the show tonight, the real talking point. How many of you have ever been taken advantage of at a sale? Somebody pulled a bait and switch on you. They showed you one thing, you pay for it, and as you're loading it up, the stuff that you were shown never makes it home with you because they pulled it back out when you weren't looking. Because that happened in a major way to somebody in the community recently. A lot of people were giving advice. Hey, Paul, how are you? Paul, I think you're staying in the wrong kind of hotels. The old bait and switch has happened to a lot of us, especially on bulk buys. It's one of those things where you got to be careful because there are people out there that will take advantage of it. The Variety Flipper is in the house. How are you tonight? Hey, Paul, I give you a word of advice about hotels. No outside access to the rooms. If your room has a door that opens directly to the parking lot, go find a better hotel. Uh, I've been a little under the weather. I've been waking up with headaches a lot recently, but I'm fine. I still don't have my lighting figured out in here, so I probably look a little more pale than I actually am. But I appreciate you asking. I hate to bring up the person's name that gave me the talking point for tonight without that person being here, because I don't know how much of what happened is really mine to talk about. So, if you know what I mean. Paul, there is a motel across the street from where my watch repair shop is. There's been between 2 and 4 murders there this year. And when I retire next year in October, I will stay out of that area as much as possible. Murder motel. Yeah. Paul, how much of the life change are you going to document for us on YouTube with the move to Florida? Nah, Paul, nobody bait and switched me, but it's somebody that's well known in our community, well respected, good person. Bought a bunch of stuff and took several trips to get it all home. Once all the stuff got home, they went through it, and the stuff they looked at and made the deal because of was not there. Gold is quite a bit on the other channel. Okay. Not sure what that means, Paul. But I think it'd be great content showing how you move and stack up and how you find sources for materials and goods, inventory. You gonna make any changes to the way you handle your inventory? Okay. It's going to be on your Philly Flipper live channel. All right, cool. Well, I should probably go ahead and get to the point. I'm going to write myself a couple of notes here real quick, make sure I touch the points I want to, or I'll write them down as I go. Sold comps. One thing you have to look at, not just what items are selling for, but how are they shipping and how much does it cost you from where you're at to ship. This morning I shipped out a tackle box, went all the way to where Paul is moving to, went all the way to Florida. I think I only charged $14.99. It ended up costing me $25 to ship it on a 30, 40. So that cut into my profits. So things you need to pay attention to when you're making your buys, because you can easily buy stuff that are good things that sell, but the shipping can bite you. Where I'm at, one of the things that I have stopped buying so much is coffee mugs. Where I'm at, it costs at least $11 to ship a coffee mug anywhere. So really and truly, coffee mugs are hard for me to sell. Shoes are another thing that's getting increasingly. I don't do calculated shipping. The calculated shipping, I don't know what calculator eBay is using for their shipping, but they overcharge every single time. And yeah, most mugs are 2 pounds to ship. And from Oregon to anywhere other than California or right here in Oregon, it's going to cost me $11 to $12 to ship it. And I double box. So not on top of the shipping, I've got the shipping materials. So, unless I can get mugs for 25 cents or 50 cents and sell them for $15 to $20, it really don't make sense to pick up mugs. Now, the tackle box I sold was not loaded with anything. It's just an empty tackle box. It's in great condition. It's an old Rebel, but I didn't realize I didn't have a box for it, so I had to Frankenbox it. And the 2 boxes that I used cost me $2.25 a piece, plus the bubble wrap and the paper. But by the time I got that damn thing boxed up, it was 7 pounds and a 18 by 12 by 15 box all the way to Florida. And Parcel Select Ground was the cheapest, and it cost $25 to ship it. No, it was a Rebel bulky tackle box. It had 3 trays in it, so it took a good sized box. It didn't weigh that much on its own, but by the time I put 2 boxes together and put all the packing paper in around it, it ended up being 7 pounds shipped. I'm an old bass fisherman, an old fisherman, and I know that there is a huge most of the sports fishing people in the world that use those kind of tackle boxes, they're all East Coast. And I should have took that into account. Hey, Rachel, there you are. Rachel, I sent you an invite to be a guest on tonight's show via Instagram. If you want to, come on in. I shipped a variety flipper. I shipped something out, and there was an 80-cent holiday surcharge on it. I don't even remember what it was, but I sent it out priority, and they added an extra 80 cents to it. I figured you were busy tonight. I sent you the. Rachel, I bought one. Wife was wanted to make one, but she's or flared up an old knee injury, and she's not getting around too good right now. So I'm gonna cook for tomorrow. I was already going to smoke the turkeys, but I got to come up with everything else. Rachel, we'll be on at least another half hour, not much beyond that, I think. I sent you the invite, but I've never had a guest on before, so I'll see how I'm not sure I know what I'm doing to get you on here. Yeah. I keep forgetting about that. And it's we take most of us take our food for granted. We don't realize how many animal products are in most of our food. I've even met people who are vegan who will not eat otherwise vegan food if it was cooked in utensils that have been used to cook animal products. Yeah, they do always increase the prices. This year, USPS has sent out a thing where they're claiming they're going to, uh, they're pencil whipping us. They're saying they're going to reduce prices on things, but they don't say they're going to reduce it back to the pre-holiday hike. And I've heard that they're doing away with regional boxes. And I even heard that they're going to do away with the padded flat rate envelope. Hey, Kathy, how are you? Unless that's Chris or both of you. And if so, hello. Okay, Christopher. Kathy, I was watching you guys' newest video while waiting for my time slot to open up. So I've got to go back and finish watching that. I think the last part of it I saw was you showing the Dr. Scholl's clog looking shoes. Hey, Chris. Is Reese right there too? I've used a few of the regional boxes, Ping, but not that many. So that really doesn't bother me too much. A lot of my stuff, when it gets over 2 pounds, I'll ship it either UPS ground or parcel select ground. But if the padded flat rate envelope goes away, that is going to stink. Kathy, for me, the bins to go more than once a week is really not worth it. We don't do rotations like others. We're lucky to get one and occasionally 2 rotations in a day, but I've seen times where they'll go 2 or 3 days without doing a rotation. And even when they do a rotation, they may only put out 4 new bins. So if you go every day, you're going through the same stuff you went through the day before. And until recently, they've only been putting out 3 bins of clothing items. Happy birthday. We're not going to talk about how old I am. I'm in Oregon, Southern Oregon. Ping, that might be it, but I can't imagine, because it's not really a great source of bubble wrap to wrap things for. I mean, I guess there are people out there taking advantage, but it might just be a numbers thing. If they're shipping out 10 million padded flat rate envelopes a month, but they're only selling half that in the number of labels a month, it may just be a numbers thing for them. Yeah, Kathy, our bins, they have a hard time keeping anybody there to work. Hey, Rachel is here, so here we go. Add to the stream.
What is up?
Hey, thank you for coming in.
Oh man, I'm excited to be here. I'm sorry if I'd seen your invitation, I would have been in here earlier.
It's all right.
Let's see if I can.
It being Wednesday, I didn't know if you were at church or what.
No,
If
I
you
was
were,
making
you
pie.
kinda had time.
I actually just got done filming a podcast. There's this newer reseller podcast called Pickers Podcast. Have you heard about it?
I don't think I have.
So they are on YouTube as Pickers Podcast, and then they're everywhere you can get podcasts too. And they invited me to record with them tonight. So I did that.
Awesome.
And then I went and started making these pies, and Israel and I just got them in the oven. Whenever I was like, oh yeah, Jug Monkey switched his to tonight, or maybe it's always Wednesday night. I don't know.
Well, it's always Wednesday, but I did change from 5:30 my time to 6 p.m. my time because it was interfering. It was coming in the middle of Baldy Pal's show. And I got a couple of people on the East Coast who go to church, and they could only make it to the show halfway through if I start at 6.
Oh yeah, yeah. And it's easier, yeah, for us. We could even like send people over after Baldy Pal show, like, hey,
Right.
you guys, after you leave here, because like when a live ends, especially his is an hour, people always want somewhere else to go,
Right. And I can always tell when the show ends because I'm usually in that show,
Yeah.
or in the chat. And then I'm like, oops, I got to go. I got to start mine. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. They shouldn't overlap.
I know it's hard. It's so hard to find a night that that like no one is on. I recently changed the time of mine, and mine now bleeds over into like when Ginger Marvin has theirs, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, of course I would have chosen. I wasn't thinking about it.
And also Noel.
Noel is on Thursday. Sunny is on Thursday. Pittsburgh Pickers on. I'm like, what did I pick the busiest night of the entire week or what?
I flip flop back and forth between all the different live shows on Thursday nights.
Yeah.
And sometimes I get lucky and I get caught up in one of them. That's the one I stay with, but I will swap back and forth.
Yeah.
It's kind of
sorry,
tough.
my setup's so wonky tonight. I don't mean to be like that. I had my hair up when I was making pies, so no one got any secret ingredients. And I was like, I guess I could take it down so you guys don't have to look at me like that. I saw your title tonight was avoiding bad buys.
Yeah. I'm guessing you know what inspired me to talk about.
Oh man, it was like the worst. And there's so many people in the comments that are like, oh, you could have done this and you could have done that. And like, I so appreciate people trying to find a silver lining, but I even went so far as to try to give these away locally to the only other reseller I know, and he didn't even want them for free. And I'm like, yeah, I could have a yard sale. What it's 30 degrees last week and the week before, like 20, 30 degrees. So no one's going to have a yard sale in those temperatures. So where would I have stored those? You saw what the living room looked like.
Oh yeah. That was a lot of stuff.
I'm like, I have to decorate for Christmas next week, this week. So I'm done. I'm tired of it. Like there's so much negative energy around something like that because the guy just totally took advantage of me.
Yeah. Everybody, you and I messaged back and forth a few times.
Yeah.
Today. And everybody's trying to find the silver lining, and I'm just sitting over just stewing. And I have to be honest, when I got up this morning and saw you drop the video, I watched it and I just got mad.
I'm surprised. I am so surprised my dad didn't message me like that because like my dad does not take lightly even someone leaving like an ill comment to me.
Right.
And I did not tell him about that because I didn't want him to like, he's very protective. And I'm surprised I didn't get a message from him because he was in the premiere this morning.
For everybody in the chat, I was beating around the bush a lot. Rachel didn't actually make a bad buy. She was showing some good stuff. You said there was a Matrix poster in there, had the red and blue pill. It's a very popular poster, worth a good bit of money. It's got a really good sell rate. You said there were some of the superhero posters in there.
And there were even
stuff made it home with you, did it?
No. And even like
boxes you guys saw that they had pulled aside.
Yeah, in the video I even showed, I was like, this is a Sonic poster I'll never see again. That wasn't in there.
Yeah.
And then you can see whenever I'm talking about this 35 millimeter reel setup that they have, it's like a tiered, you can see this Elvis poster laid out from like the recent movie. Right. And when I got there, I was like, yeah, roll up Elvis. And he was like, oh, that one's spoken for. I'm like, spoken for? Like, what do you mean someone came in here after me and picked it through these again?
Yeah. And when you found, there was another business owner next door who said, oh yeah, so-and-so went through those things and sold the best ones on eBay.
Yeah.
You seeing those good posters right there at the beginning of the negotiations probably is what sparked you to make the buy.
Yeah, because I was like, I could sell 2 or 3 because I knew for a fact
Yeah,
that that Matrix one is like a $40 poster, and there were probably 4 of them. So right there, I had my
right.
money back.
Yeah. So what ended up happening is you hauled off all his trash for him, which would have cost him, I'm going to guess, about 20 or $30 per load to take to the dump, plus the time it took. And maybe if he didn't do it, he would have had to pay somebody to do it. You went in and paid him for the privilege of hauling his trash off for
Yep.
him. And he bait and switched you. He
Yeah,
took,
because we hauled off everything that was literally he said was in his way, and then the good boxes. Like, I edited so much of that because I think he could potentially see it, and what I filmed that day, I was infuriated about it. I edited it down a lot to
uh,
be as kind as I could about it, but still try to get the point across. So, like, I'm glad that you understood what I was saying because so many people
yeah,
didn't
I
get
did.
so many people think I was upset because there weren't good posters in there, and I'm like, that had little to do with it. I knew that I was taking a risk. What I was upset about was, like, being taken advantage of.
In fact, I made a comment before I even finished half of my first cup of coffee. And then I thought about it and I thought about it. I'm like, I better not leave that up because
If there wasn't swearing in it, I probably would have
oh
left it
no,
up.
there was no swearing,
Yeah,
but
I would have left it up then. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. I only ever remove comments if it's, like, vulgar or swearing or anything like that.
yeah, no, well, I think I sent you a message and told you pretty much what I,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I left up one from Eric, one of my reseller friends in Philly, and he said, "Put a little South Philly on it and take those ashes up to the doorstep and throw them
oh,
into the theater or something." And I was like,
no,
"Oh, I love that." That's
oh
I
no, I
like
would have went and found some fluorescent pink, yellow, just brightest colors I could find spray paint. I would have spray painted thief all over them boxes and I'd have went and stacked them so deep in front of his door he'd had to work for an hour to get in.
I'm telling you, it was a mess. And just like I live in a very basic size ranch house, so my family was literally walking around them to go have breakfast every morning. And
Yeah.
so like not only were they like emotionally weighing on
Hi,
me
Chrissy.
physically, like it was worth the burning them, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever actually burned a bad buy, like had a buy so bad you just destroyed it?
No, but I have this past summer, my little shop here. Well, I say it's little, it's 20 by 20.
Oh, that's good size.
Yeah. But it's not all my shop. It's got I've got a watch and jewelry shop in here. I've got a lapidary shop in here. I've got the freezer for the big stuff in here. I've got our camping gear in here. And but
Nice.
it got bad. I had like a little pig trail going around and I couldn't find stuff. I was losing stuff, forgetting I even had stuff.
Mm.
But I had enough. So I backed my truck up, opened the garage door, loaded it all up, and I took it to the dump.
Oh, nice.
It was either that or shut down because most of it was stuff that either come in bulk buys or at the time I was going to the bins, and the more you buy, the less you pay. And it would actually cost me less money to buy 30 pounds than it was to buy 25 pounds.
Wow. That's
So,
crazy. I heard you saying right before I joined that like your bins doesn't rotate
no,
even. That's nuts. Like at ours is weird though in St. Louis, and they didn't used to do this. I say ours, it's a 6-hour drive from me, but they closed down at lunch and for like a couple hours and
wow.
rotate and then
Yeah.
reopen, and that
Yeah.
is the rotation.
Their rotation time can be very hectic and you can have some very aggressive people taking part in the rotation. They
Yeah.
will not follow the rules. So shutting down is probably the best answer they had to that.
Yeah, and I think they only did it like when, the world shut down. But there's a really cool international food court that is like almost within walking distance. The only reason
Yeah.
it's not walking distance is because you wouldn't want to leave your car in this Ben's parking lot because it's literally under an overpass.
Right.
So I drive like by IKEA and then go in, but it's every ethnicity of food you could ever imagine inside this indoor food court. And it's so good. So it's
They
worth
got
like going
Cajun
over there.
food.
They have what?
Cajun?
Yes,
Really?
absolutely. Yes, they
Oh,
have like I go there and eat Indian food. They have Hawaiian, they have like they had what was it? An Asian barbecue place in there.
mhm.
Everything. Chrissy's here. Colin's on the move. I just saw
I
her.
saw that. I tried to sneak in a hi Chrissy real quick.
She's probably cooking up a storm. I saw
Coco and Chewy just stepped in.
nice. I need to go in and see. I saw Christy posted something about her pretty tablescape. Do you guys set out all the like the fine linens and china and everything for Thanksgiving?
Well, for us, it's just me, my wife, and my daughter, and there may be a few friends stop by now and again. So no, we don't do the big full table setup and
It is
everything.
just
And
the four of us, and I'm going all out.
yeah, well, we normally start our Christmas decorations the
Yeah.
same day,
We'll do that tomorrow night. Yeah, that's
but
fun.
this year we have to buy all new lights.
Oh no, what happened? You dumped them, didn't you? Was that something that you took to the dump?
No, they're still here, but we've decided to um, go a different way in our decorating this year.
Oh, okay.
Because before I had the traditional little light bulbs, not the little tiny ones, but the the little tulip shaped bulbs.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to make them work on my house without just looking raggedy, I had to put one of those little clips for every light.
Like
So
C9s, like the big bulbs?
yeah, to
Oh,
get
those
them
are
to stand
beautiful.
upright because there's no way to dangle them on
Oh,
my house the way my gutters are set up and everything. So I had to
okay.
buy these gutter hooks and put one clip for almost every light.
I bet
So
that was
it's
so beautiful though.
it was pretty, but it took all stinking day just to put the lights across the front of the house.
Hmm. Yeah, so
No,
I
they
have
weren't the bubble ones. They were just the little, just I don't know how to, I don't know
I think they're called
terminology.
C9. I wish I don't have one of them around here because those bulbs sell well on eBay.
I did not know
We
that.
have this we have a Jack Skellington, like a blow
Uh-huh.
up in our front yard. So he's Halloween movie and he's a Christmas movie, right?
Right.
So we put him up. He's in a Santa suit, but we put him
I
up
was
at
going to ask if he
Halloween.
was the one with the Santa suit.
Yes, we put him up at Halloween for like a Halloween decoration, but we got really lazy and we literally took the Halloween decorations down today. So that guy is still up. He's just gonna stay through Christmas now.
Yeah. Well, where I'm from down south, you can see Christmas lights on front porches year round.
Yeah, well, sometimes ours literally stayed this year. I know it was past July because I told Drew, I said at this point we're closer to Christmas than we are the last Christmas. You may as well just keep them up. And he took them down like August or September. What was the point in even taking them down at that point?
Yeah.
We just
But
get
yeah,
busy.
so this year we're going, and normally I don't leave the house on Black Friday.
Oh
I
yeah.
know. And that Thursday night, midnight door knocker stuff,
Uh-huh.
I don't do that either. I don't do well in crowds.
I hear a butt coming, but this year.
This year we're going Black Friday specifically for Christmas lights.
Oh, who has a good deal on Christmas lights?
I don't know, but I'm sure we're going to shop every single body that has them.
Why would you, if you're not doing like a doorbuster deal, go on a different day?
Yeah.
It's going to be a madhouse for the few things that are like on sale. And it's so funny because it's items that are never actually grouped together. It's like, here's a 47-piece Pyrex set. It's only $39.99. And they don't normally have a 47-piece. So it's not like you have anything to compare it to. You don't know if it's a good deal
Right.
or not. Like, I do need some more Pyrex though.
Every time I find Pyrex, it's been washed in the dishwasher too many times. It's faded, it's scratched up, and then they've got eBay prices on it. So it's like, I like Pyrex, but what I really want is one of the big yellow bowls,
Yeah.
the large yellow
Uh-huh.
mixing bowl. My grandmother had one forever, and she always made banana pudding in the thing.
Oh, so
And my
guys, if we
mom
find a
has it.
yellow bowl, we know
Yeah,
exactly who to send it to.
right. So yeah, anybody, if you come up with the large Pyrex yellow bowl, they're not high dollar or anything.
Yeah.
But I
I
did
have
find
some pink
something this week
ones.
that was and didn't know it and sold it probably too cheap.
You found it?
Yeah, I found a La Creuset cast iron pot with lid. It's a sauce pot though. It's not the Dutch oven.
Okay.
The colors in La Creuset is a lot like the colors in
It
Pyrex.
matters.
Certain colors and Fiesta ware too.
Yes.
I couldn't find one identical to it, and I read about one called graphite, and I'm like, well, this thing's kind of gray. It must be the graphite one. So I listed it as graphite, and then some collector got on there. This is not graphite. This is ocean.
Don't you love
Okay.
it?
Yeah. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, I'll look into it. And they're like, well, it's this, that, and that. I'm like, yeah, that sounds exactly like mine. Okay, I'll revise it. So I revised it. And it's just this little 1 or 2 quart sauce pot with a lid. And it's Le Creuset, and it's kind of got a light blue, and then it's got a color gradient that's kind of a greenish gray. And apparently that's the rarest color there is. I paid $7 for it off the new rack at Goodwill, listed it the same day, and the following morning, within an hour of her telling me that it was called ocean and not graphite, sold it for $60.
What was it worth?
I have no idea. I can't, there's no sold comps for one in ocean color, but all the other ocean color stuff I see sells for significantly more money for that style of pot or pan.
Dang. Yeah, I've never seen like a gradient, like an ombre or something like that.
Yeah,
My friend,
when the
Katie, just
gradient
bought
ones,
one.
I've seen the orange to reds, the flame
Oh,
gradient flame
okay.
ones, but yeah.
It is good stuff. I've never
Yeah.
cooked in it. Drew bought this saucepan, or not a saucepan. It's like this huge, like 20-something inch skillet this week, yesterday, the day before, we were at Ross, and he found it. The thing probably weighs like 7 pounds. You could knock someone out with it. And he just wanted it. He was
Yeah.
like, we need a new skillet, and gets this huge skillet.
While I was in the Goodwill buying that little Le Creuset, I had dropped my wife off at Fred Meyer's, and she bought a enameled cast iron round shallow pan with a lid. So we were both buying enameled cast iron at the same time.
She could have just kept yours, which was probably super high quality.
She eyeballed it. She's always
Ooh.
eyeballing the stuff I bring home.
Look what I just sold. She told me to hang on to it and not ship it yet. I sold this one Christopher Radko ornament. It's a Santa Claus. I sold this one ornament for $200.
See, I never find the good ornaments. I find the modern made in China ones.
I have a whole box of these Radko, a whole box.
You do know any Santa Claus, anything that's dressed in any color other than the traditional, or what we call traditional, red and white. There are people out there who collect Santas specifically because they're not dressed in red and white.
Nice. Those are all
and
Radko.
The really old stuff, you want to see them dressed in brown.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the shame is that they're all mercury glass, so they're like thin as an eggshell.
Mm-hmm.
So
right.
They'll be fun to ship. I already sold
that's one. A double box situation for sure.
Absolutely. And I'm going to use some movie posters for packing paper. They're really thick paper, so they do work well as packing paper. And I just couldn't keep all of them for packing paper because, come on, I got to store some unlisted inventory around here somewhere.
After Christmas, I used to buy like at Goodwills and thrift stores and the bins, I'd buy up all the cheap wrapping paper. And I would use that for my crush paper in my boxes.
There's a gift wrap shop in my town, in my tiny little town. It's been here since the 50s or before. And he will sell like reams of old paper that doesn't sell anymore for like $4. Like huge roll, the commercial rolls.
Didn't you go there and make D'Lo pick out his own wrapping paper this year?
I do every year. Yes, every year we go as a family, and that's like a family tradition is we go pick out our Christmas paper. And yeah, Della was like, he was just being a snotty teenager one day. He's rarely like that. He's so sweet. And he would not pick out anything but this lime green zebra. And I was like, fine. And I wrapped his presents in it.
That's funny.
They have the best wrapping papers, though. That's just like such a niche store to have a gift wrap shop. Yeah,
What do they do the rest of the year?
They sell gift wrap all year.
All year.
Yes, and so I drew their store, and I'm like painting it in watercolor, and I'm going to bring it to them, like because it's been their family store for almost a century, and I'm going to give them this painting of his store just because it's like. It's important to our family. It's like a family tradition to go in there. And I like wanted to give them something as like a thank you for being here.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
Marie, that's fine. I wasn't even sure I was going to go on tonight. I was kind of inspired to come on tonight.
I don't know what to do for tomorrow. Should I go on or not? Oh, you
You
froze
know
a bit.
what? It's
I did.
Thanksgiving Day,
Yeah.
and I don't think people would mind if you took a day for yourself and your family.
That's
But if
kind of
you
what I
do go
thought.
on, yeah, if you do go on, let me know, and I'll show up for sure.
Because I was like, if I did go on, it doesn't have to be I could do an abbreviated 1 hour. Because I thought as
Right?
soon as I cancel it, it'll be so late in the evening that everyone's gonna be like mellowed out doing their own thing, searching on their phones or something anyway. And then I'll be like, I might as well be live right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
They'll either be around on the internet or they'll be in a food coma.
I know. What food are you looking forward to the
We
most
are having
tomorrow?
difficulties.
What is it?
Honestly, the smoked turkey.
Oh yeah. And you're
Yeah,
smoking it yourself?
yeah.
I could see you doing like the smoking and stuff like that because you're like a craftsman in so many other areas, and that's kind of
Right.
like a craft to know how to smoke meat.
Well, when I was growing up, my family owned a barbecue place, so
Oh,
in East
gotcha.
Texas.
I always forget that you're actually a Southerner.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. East Texas, and man, Texas is one of those places that most people have the wrong idea about. They don't
Probably.
realize just how big Texas is and how many different things we have there. I'm
Yeah.
from the extreme right or eastern portion, right on the Louisiana border.
Oh,
And I grew up in the river bottoms and the swamps. And
so
when
like
people
Houston or
said
Corpus
Texas,
Christi or
northeast of Houston,
okay,
yeah, half an hour, 45 minutes after you leave Houston on I-10, you're just getting into my neck of the woods.
gotcha.
Uh, Texas is so big that when I am in El Paso, which is the extreme western side of I-10, I'm actually closer to Los Angeles than I am home. And I'm still in my own state and got
Yeah.
3 more states to cross before I can get to California.
Yes, and that it's massive, and I know that about Texas because we drove down to Corpus Christi once, and when we hit Texas, I was like, "Yay, we're almost there," and that was like the cutest naive idea I ever had in my life because we
Yeah.
were still a day in.
8 hours later, you're still an
Yes.
hour away.
Yeah, and then we drove
Cajun
across.
reseller. Yes, I am from close to Beaumont.
Oh, see, y'all got more in common than what you thought. We drove across Texas once on
Yeah.
Route 66, and that took, like, a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the northern part of Texas. You came in at, right there where they had the Great Steak restaurant, Big
Mhm.
Tex.
Yeah,
And I'm
yes,
trying to remember
we passed Big Tex, and then we drove, like, through
yeah,
Amarillo and,
Amarillo.
yeah, all of that. We went to, Palo Duro Canyon. Have you ever they call it
Mhm.
Grand Canyon Junior?
Yeah.
We drove, my Lincoln down to the bottom of that.
That road's not always in good repair.
Yeah, I remember Abby being really scared when we did that, and then when we got to the Grand Canyon, we drove as much of we just drove that Lincoln everywhere. We drove it to the bottom of places in Sedona. We hiked in, like, every state. That trip was just epic. Did I stop at Buc-ee's? I went to a Buc-ee's one time. Whew, mercy. I mean, maybe without a 6-year-old, maybe in a different frame of mind. The last time we drove back from Florida, we stopped at a Buc-ee's, and I was just like, "I have to get out of here immediately." It was a lot.
Yeah. I used to go to the original Buc-ee's back when it was still a very small place. It was,
Really?
yeah, they had like outbuildings that they were keeping a lot of their inventory in that were made out of plywood. And then they tore that completely down and built the big one on I-10. It's out there. I want to say it's west of San Antonio.
Hmm.
But
Are
yeah, I
you a
used to
Buc-ee's
stop in there.
fan? Are you
Oh,
do you like to
always.
go there?
I did. I loved going there.
Is there, like, a certain food that you wanted? Is that why you went there? Or, like, the clean
I like
bathrooms were
going
nice?
there because I traveled a lot. For 13 years, I traveled a lot
Mm.
doing fundraisers at hospitals, and I always traveled with a crew. And when you're traveling out on the interstate and it's hard to find a place that has clean restrooms
Yep.
and food and, a clean place. And a lot of those little gas stations, the truck stops you stop at, or you don't want to be there very long. Just get your
Okay,
tank
you're
filled
right.
up and move on down the road.
There's definitely been times where
So,
Israel needed to potty, and I wish a Buc-ee's had been around. You are right about that.
yeah. And, most of the time when I was traveling, it was with a group of women. So, a nice restaurant, a nice restroom is kind of a must.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely been at a lot of places where you just kind of hover, and hope that you don't touch anything. It's a lot harder as a
I've been to places where you open the door and look in, and you're like, nope.
but like with a 6-year-old, I mean, you don't get another there's not let's wait 10 miles down the road. And
Yeah.
we did a lot of traveling when I was pregnant. We drove down to Destin, and I was just like, you have to stop at the next place, and you would just cross your fingers that it was cleanish.
Yeah.
Cleanish.
That's. I'll have to tell the story about all the traveling I did. We traveled. It got to the point that traveling. It was for a jewelry store that I worked at.
Yeah.
And we would go to hospitals and set up a complete jewelry store. And I would bring a workbench with me, and I would do ring
Why at a
sizing
hospital?
jewelry repair right there on the spot.
Why at a hospital?
Well, most hospitals you go to, you ever see they have their volunteers or their auxiliary, it's called.
Yeah.
And they would raise money for different things for the hospital. And they're the ones who normally run the gift store.
Right. We have that here.
Yeah. And a lot of places they work hand in hand with organizations like Children's Miracle Network, or they would raise money to send nurses on to further education, and they would do fundraisers. They do book sales, leather sales, $5 jewelry sale, which is, beads and faux stuff, and shoe sales. And we would do jewelry sales for them, but we would bring everything from, cheap costume jewelry all the way up to platinum and diamonds.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you are in a place with a lot of doctors that could probably afford it if they knew you were coming.
The doctors were rarely ever bought from us. It was always the staff.
Wow.
And they would be able to buy against their paycheck, give them up to 10 pay periods to pay for things.
Wow.
No credit check or anything. You just sign the paper, and, and whoever we were working for there, they would get 20, 30, 40%, whatever it was for that particular place. But we traveled coast to coast and border to border.
That's incredible. I would never have suspected that that's where you were setting up at.
But yeah, hospitals. In fact, that's how I found this area of Oregon. And I had it written right into my contract that when we got to Oregon, we had to take 2 days off so I could go rock hounding.
Oh, nice. Oh my gosh. Okay. I don't know if I ever told you this story. Stop me if I have, or maybe the chat will think it's funny, but since you're a rock guy, and I wish I was, we went to this place in Springfield on our way back on Route 66. Okay. And this guy is putting together a mammoth there that he is, he's sourcing it from like Wyoming or Montana or something. Right. And like bringing it in piece by piece and putting this thing together. And they had some fossils on site. There was like this little fossil field, right? And it was just going to be small stuff like, I don't know, a snail or some of those like spiral deals, right? He says, you can go out there, find any that you want and keep them. And I was just like, this is a dream come true, because you know how much I love rocks and fossils. And he said the way to tell if it's a fossil is that you could stick it on your lip here. And if it sticks, okay, you're nodding your head like we're not morons, because ever since that trip, I wondered if they had a secret camera out and they'd watched us lick these rocks. But since it's porous, because it seemed like everything.
I have a very, very funny story about licking of the rocks.
So are we stupid that we went out there and actually licked the rocks? Or because in my head, that made sense because a fossil would be porous and it would work.
Actually, a fossil is actually just rock.
Okay.
Ancient bone will stick to your lip like that.
Okay.
But a real fossil is just a casting made of rock of the original item.
Gotcha.
So it doesn't always work. Angie's here.
I saw that,
So
and
we've got all
Lori
of those.
popped in too. Mama with the camera, Lori's
Yeah.
here. Oh, should I have
Kristen
to
was in
lick the
earlier
rocks?
tonight.
Tell me if I should have licked the rocks or not.
Yeah, it's sometimes it worked and sometimes it doesn't. Real funny story though. We were doing a fossil hunt in Central Texas, the hill country of Texas, and I was just goofing around, and I told the guy, like, look, I found a fossil pearl. And they're like, how can you tell? And I'm like, oh, well, you stick it to your tongue. If it sticks, it's a pearl. I was just joking. So an hour goes by and I hear, yeah. So I walk over, and this guy has found a little mound of dried out little white round things.
Oh, come on, really?
Oh my. Yeah, that was a rabbit's bathroom that had dried out in the sun.
And they were not pearls. Oh my gosh,
No,
can you
they were not
imagine?
pearls.
Oh,
Well, I don't have to imagine. I was there. I witnessed it.
I brought several of these rocks home. I'll show you pictures of them, and you
Okay.
can tell me if I was just licking rocks or not. That was the place that I think I told you when I went in. I asked him if he had a piece of Mozarkite because I had never seen it and wanted to, and he gave it to me because he said it was such an
Yeah.
ugly stone, and he gave me the Mozarkite. So I have that. I don't know why. I've always been absolutely obsessed with, like, I wanted to be an archaeologist as a kid, and then I decided I wanted to be a forensic pathologist, and none of those things happened. But like, I'm 37. It's not too late, right? Is it too late if I'm not going to make it to be an archaeologist?
Oh, who was it? Colonel Sanders was in his 60s before he started Kentucky Fried Chicken.
I'm just saying I could find the next dinosaur in Missouri. There are some Missouri dinosaurs, okay? It could be in my backyard.
Mhm.
I actually live on a ridge here where the Civil War was fought. And so I'm confident if I walked out into our 6 acres, I could probably find like either arrowheads or cannonballs, or there's something out there, right? Like the Stars and Stripes, where they founded the Stars and Stripes newspaper is like maybe 2 miles north of me.
Yeah. There's always something to be found no matter where you're at.
Yeah.
Fossils, artifacts, rocks, gems, minerals, things to thrift, antiques. There's always something to be found. I'm an old treasure hunter. I've been traveling my entire life. My dad was in the Navy. I was in the Navy, and there was always something to go out and look for.
That's why you resell, because it's a treasure hunt too.
Well, it's only treasure if you profit from it, right?
That's
Otherwise, it's just hoarded items for a collection. Yeah.
I did a whole unboxing when you sent me my box of rocks. I've never been happier to get a box of rocks in my life. Because you said you were going to send me this one stone, and then a whole box showed up at my house, and I was like, I have to film opening this because I know he sent more than that one stone. But I had to get the burning of the posters out of the way before I can get some of these unboxing videos. So it's in an upcoming video because I was ecstatic.
Okay.
There's parts of it I wanted to cry. I just thought they were so pretty. And then I wish that I had Israel's reaction on camera because he is as obsessed with rocks as I am. He brings me
you
rocks.
guys have to come out here because
I know.
One of the reasons I live here is because it's such a rock hounding paradise.
I just love it.
We've got fossils out on the coast. We've got Oregon sunstone. We've got fire opal, agates, thunder eggs.
Incredible.
Yeah, it's really nice. There's a lot of different rock gems and minerals out here to find.
That's really cool. I don't think we really have stuff like that unless I'm just not looking. But yeah,
Let's
you
see,
got
Southern Missouri, I think,
stopping
has,
in.
yeah. Anthony C's here. Matt, Bearded Poketuber, has come in.
Sometimes it takes a while for people to get notifications.
Yeah, well, I just scheduled this about 40 minutes before I started. So
sounds like something I
recorded a short reel and put it out on Instagram at the same time. So
oh yeah, see, I'll decide to premiere something in like 5 minutes, and then people later are like, I'm sorry I didn't see it, Rachel. I'm like, I literally just decided 4.5 minutes beforehand. Do not worry about it.
hey, you do have somebody keeping an eye on them pies for you, don't you?
No, I put, I put it in the oven with a timer, so I think the oven went off.
Okay.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
My oven doesn't turn off when the timer goes off.
Our oven went out. And so I'm using like
Oh,
the stovetop like air fryer oven, and I'm like gonna do
okay.
the whole Thanksgiving dinner tomorrow with a stovetop
Well,
or like a countertop oven.
Tina with the Lake Exchanges here, and she's talking about you can find sea glass at the Great Lakes. Um, at the Great Lakes, there's a new collectible rock. I don't think it's a mineral, but they call it euperlites. And what it is, it's a rock that has crystals in it that glow under UV light, like
Wow.
uranium glass. So
What?
people go out at night on the beaches with little UV lights, and they find these euperlites.
Well, there's a lot of industry around the Great Lakes, so do you think it's like something toxic that's making it glow?
No, no, it's a natural gem. A lot
Oh,
of
it
natural
is?
stones glow. Yeah.
Hmm.
Precious opal will glow under
Yeah.
a black light.
Have you seen
So
some of the
down in
gems
Australia, a
from
lot of
Whatnot?
guys will. No, I need to get back on Whatnot.
You
I
could
kind of
sell
got a
some of
bad
your
taste
gems on
for it
there.
early on. Yeah,
You got a bad
but
taste for it. Yeah, they have
yeah,
like people that sell the towers and stuff. I mean, some of the like the tall, like a rose quartz tower, like $200 and $400. I'm like, I know.
there's the biggest rock gem and mineral show in the world happens every year in Tucson, Arizona, every January, February. And you can go and buy those pyramids and wands and towers. You can buy like enough to fill up a 2.5 by 6 foot table
Uh-huh.
for a few $100.
Oh, maybe I should go do
And
that
the
and
big
sell 'em.
amethyst cathedrals, the big, the big amethyst geodes,
Yeah. Oh,
you can
amethyst
buy
is
like
so
a pallet
pretty.
of those things for $1,200.
Oh, wow. Maybe I should do that. There seems to be a market for it. But the guy that sells them at that, I never do actually see him selling anything. But there are other gym shows, like crystal shows, I should say, on Whatnot that do like a pretty good job. Chrissy Collins on the Move, her daughter likes crystals. I just think they're beautiful. I still want to know what that
Yeah,
big one
I'm
is
going
that
to
I
go out
have.
on a limb and bet that Oh, that's right. You were going to send me pictures. You did send me a picture of
I
it.
sent a picture, but then you told me to take a pocket knife to it, and I still haven't.
Oh, yeah. That's right. It's got to be a carbon steel pocket knife, and
I
just
have
on a
one. I have a
just
good, like a
on some
Kershaw
little out of the way
blade.
corner of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
That's what I
So
I
if
like Kershaw, and I got one it's like an assisted, it's not a switchblade because those aren't legal everywhere, but it's an assisted
right,
open, and
right,
when you open it, it looks like it's sharp on both sides. It looks like a dagger, but it's not. It's
right,
a cool
and
blade.
it's carbon steel, not
Yeah.
one of these new super alloys.
No, it's a carbon steel. It's nice.
Okay, but if a tip of a carbon steel knife will scratch that thing, it's going to be calcite. It'll be
Hmm.
what we call a dog tooth calcite crystal. But if it won't scratch it, it's going to be what we call graphic quartz.
Hmm. Yeah, it's beautiful. We dug it out of Drew's grandparents' estate. Nobody seemed to want it. No one wanted those huge walking sticks. Did you see what I sold the walking stick for? I have a video coming out
No,
about that. $150 plus shipping for one of those.
it
Like,
wasn't cheap to ship either.
it kind of was. It was less
Really?
than $30. I swear
Yeah.
you could ship anything on FedEx for $27.
I don't use FedEx anymore.
I just
I
shipped a
found
Christmas tree for $27.
FedEx home delivery
Mhm.
is not FedEx.
Really?
They wear FedEx uniforms, they drive FedEx trucks,
I'm
but they
confused.
are actually contractors.
Oh, okay.
And once they get a hold of your item,
Mhm.
FedEx, the company, they're hands off. And
That's
I've had a
interesting.
lot of trouble with things getting broken.
Oh.
And I've had problems with them trying to deliver to my house. I chased a guy down one time because he's
You would.
parked in front of my house. I had ordered a $400 pair of dress shoes, brand spanking new Allen Edmonds.
One of those. I was about to say, were they Allen Edmonds?
Yeah, brand new ones. And he stops in front of my house. I'm like, all right, they're here. He goes across to my neighbor's house, delivers something, comes over and gets back on his truck. I'm like, he's about to bring me my box. Well, he cranks up and drives off. I'm like, oh no. So I and I went and looked on the computer at the tracking that says delivered. I'm like, no, he didn't. So I ran across the street to the neighbor's house and they're like, no, he delivered my such and such. And he didn't deliver a box addressed to me. And they're like, no. So I run out to the airport to the FedEx place. They said they don't know. I had to go to another place. So I go to the FedEx trucking hub across town. And they're like, no, it's not here. It's actually out by Costco. And they're different. So I get there and you can't even get to the building. You have to park out the gate and hit a button and the camera comes on and a speaker comes up. And yeah, they tracked that guy down, made him bring me my shoes.
That's interesting that Alan Edmonds didn't make it like mandatory for you to sign for something that expensive.
Yeah, well, it was also, I think, during the time where they didn't have to get your signature. They could just
like contactless.
Yeah.
I remember Drew bought me, like, he was so worried about getting a counterfeit Gucci belt when he knew I wanted one for Christmas, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. And he went straight to Gucci and bought it. And when it arrived, like FedEx, like brought it up to the house. And not only did he have to sign for it, it had this like tamper evident tape all the way around it. And it was like, if the seal is broken, like it was the most like professionally packaged thing, I think.
I thought about getting some of that kind of tape, that tamper-proof seal tape.
Yeah, it said if it's broken, don't accept the package. Don't sign for this. I was like,
well, not only am I going to put it on the package, I'm going to put it on some of the items that I sell. Because I have sold some fairly expensive, like DVD combo recorders. And I know good and well they work because I would use them.
Oh.
And I fully test them by watching a movie start to finish on both sides of it, a VHS tape and a DVD. And then they come back to me and they're not working at all. I'm like, y'all took parts out of my stuff.
Those losers.
Yeah, so I'm going to start putting sealing tape. And I'm like, if it comes back without the seal tape on it, you're in trouble. But I'll show you what I got the wife for Christmas. She's not sneaking up on me.
Did you say you got it
from Angie? Is Angie still here?
I'm sure she is. You got it from Angie?
Yeah.
I just got a package in from Angie, and I don't think it's anything I ordered, so I'm going to open it like on, yeah, she's here. I'm going to open it on an Instagram, like on a story, because I shook it, and I don't remember ordering anything like this from Angie, so I'm going to open it on Instagram.
You know, there's times when people buy on there, and they'll say, ship it. I know that I saw somebody in one of her recent shows that said, send this to Rachel.
Well, Christopher, my friend Christopher did that in Donatella's show and sent me a Coach necklace. And I was watching it later and I heard him say, ship that to Rachel Strickland. And I was like, oh my gosh. And of course he messaged me and told me if this Coach necklace coming from Donatella. So I don't know, maybe it's something like that. I'm going to, oh, you bought that Coach bag. That is so pretty. Did you say that was for your wife?
It is.
Yes.
And it's got her favorite color as the liner.
That's so pretty. That's in such good condition.
It is. It's in.
I wish I had a dust bag to mail you for that. I would mail it to you in a heartbeat. I'm gonna look. If I have a dust bag, I'll send you one.
Okay.
That's so good. She's gonna love that. Angie always has good purses on there. She's sold so many Brighton lately, and they all go for good prices. And like people don't understand what good deals she really has over there on her auctions.
Yeah. Yeah, I got some coins from her the last time I bought.
I bought those like Japanese meditation bowls recently. I love that noise, that like wind chime style, like anything that I just love that so much. I love a kalimba, a Jew's harp, a wind chime, those medicine ball things, whatever they're called. I'm weird.
Oh, they have some nicknames that aren't too nice, but
okay.
Yeah. They come in a range of sizes, but when I was in the Navy, they would always set up they would have these vendors come in and set up out in parking lots of different parts of the base, or sometimes even on board the ship, and they would have just tables full of those things.
Nice. Yeah, Chrissy, I probably would have fit in the 70s, other than like the drug use part. I've never done that, so I can't imagine myself enjoying that, but the rest of the 70s sounds really cool.
Yeah, we still drank out of water hoses, and Our
Yeah.
phones were still attached to the walls, and we only had 3 channels to watch on TV.
Who needs TV?
Yeah.
Israel was actually turning on Frosty. He was on YouTube on his tablet and he saw Frosty the Snowman, like the 1969 version. And he's like, Mommy, can I cast it to the TV? And I was like, do you know how to cast to the TV? He was like, yeah, I know how.
My daughter will do that to me once in a while. We're sitting here watching a show, and next thing I know, she's throwing some YouTube.
Yeah, like on the
Something
Chromecast. I
video.
was just surprised he knew how to do it. I was like, he's so
Yeah.
smart. He's a clever boy.
I don't know how to do it.
Well, Drew nicknames all of our electronics throughout the house, and like the living room TV is your mom. And so you cast it to your mom, and then like our TV in our bedroom is called your greasy granny. I'm like, you are so immature.
I call my, I name my computer. I always, when I get a new computer, I name it. And, officially there's a thing in there where you can name your device.
Right.
I always name mine Fred.
What'd you name it?
Fred.
Fred. Nice.
Yeah. Ridiculous electronic device. You can figure out what the F stands for.
Sometimes they are kind of ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. This laptop I got is probably one of the best electronics I ever bought because I think it elevated my YouTube business. Because I was actually able to use like an actual like video editing software where the desktop I had before I couldn't really. And even though I had like a better camera, it would distort the quality whenever I used that lame computer to try to edit my videos. I couldn't do them in like high def. So
speaking of which, do I appear fuzzy and out of focus?
No.
6 or 7 shows in a row, I went back and looked at some of them, and I looked a little out of focus and grainy, and I cleaned the camera lens on my computer.
That is seriously the key half the time. Like I told someone recently that I don't remember if I was in my live, if I was on the podcast somewhere, and I was like, clean off your camera. And because everything was like kind of distorted. And I remember Josh Harry Tornado commenting on one of my stories one day, and he was like, Rachel, clean off your camera.
Uh-oh.
Like, okay. Oh, Scott didn't know.
Look who's here.
On. Dang.
That's Scott. It was short notice.
You need to invite Scott on someday. Like he's a wealth of knowledge, and like you guys would get along great.
Well, he's from Texas, so yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, he only has like 4 people in his town to talk to, so he needs to.
More than that.
His wife's got to get sick of him, so he needs companionship. Yeah, they said you're clear. You do. You look crystal clear.
Yeah, as it was dry. I thought it was just this cheap because this is a really cheap laptop that the wife and I bought to take with us when we go camping. Because last year we bought us a brand new camper. And now instead of going to the woods and pitching a tent or me building a shelter like I've done all my life, we got something with wheels under it.
I would love to live in a camper one day or like a conversion van. Do you think you could ever do that?
Like the tiny house on wheels type thing.
Yeah.
I could see myself doing it.
Would you have to have your stuff in storage while you did it? That's the thing. I'm like, wait a minute. Would I really be able to get rid of everything?
The wife and I have actually talked about when we both retire, buying a motor home and just traveling. But one of these little vans that they convert into like the little tiny home on wheels, I kind of want something like that to go on thrifting trips with.
Oh, that's a fun idea. And then it's all tax deductible too. See, Lori agrees. She said Scott and Rob together would be a wealth of knowledge and a mile of stories. That'd be fun.
I get sidetracked so easy.
It'd be good though.
This show is supposed to be about how to avoid those bad buys or getting tricked by bad sellers.
Let me tell you how to avoid them, guys. Do not do business with friends, period. Just don't do it. It will wreck. That's like moving in with a friend. It will make or break a friendship. And don't do business with your friends.
I read something recently. It said a customer will become a friend easier than a friend will become a customer.
So true. Yeah, that's true.
Motion nod.
It's true. I have two separate Instagrams. I have like my personal, I could post the same thing on both pages. It could be something reselling related, or it could be a picture of my kids, and you guys will like it as my friends and my coworkers more than these people in this town will. They'll be like, yeah, whatever, we saw your kid. But everyone in the reselling space is like, oh my gosh, I just love Israel's smile, and like genuinely is rooting for you and likes you. And I can tell you which one I spend more time on.
As technologically handicapped as I am,
Yeah.
a lot of people don't know this about me, but I used to run one of the oldest and biggest social media groups of its kind for almost 15 years.
That's crazy. That's a
And
big responsibility, like
it
like being
was.
admin over something like that.
Well, I owned and operated it, and I had a team of 15 admins. And
Wow.
there were days when I found it more difficult to be in control of my admins than the people in the group.
Oh, that's the equivalent of like coaching little league, and the parents are the ones that make you want to walk away. Never the kids.
Yeah,
Like the kids are
yeah.
amazing, but the parents, you're just like,
Now, Scott, my wife, she went camping with me. I'm one of those guys where you ever watch those survival shows and these guys just take a bunch of brush and throw together a survival shelter?
yeah,
Yeah, the 9-year-old me would have laughed at them because when growing up during the summer, I had cabins and hutches
nice.
and shelters all over the woods. And there were times that I'd leave and my mom wouldn't see me for several days.
So you're saying if I ever actually have to put together like my team, put you on it.
You know what? My mother-in-law, she's one of those people who she watches a lot of this doomsday stuff and the
Like
world's
prepper
going
stuff.
to end, the
Yeah.
prepper stuff. And she one time asked my wife, "What are you going to do if the economy fails or this happens or that happens?" And my wife says, "I got Bob. I ain't worried."
Does she call you Bob?
She calls me Bob. She's the only person that calls me Bob. When we
Oh,
first met, I was going by Bob.
really?
But everybody else in the world calls me Rob.
Except for, oh, that's kind of sweet. I was gonna say we can all start calling you that, but that's kind of sweet that that's like reserved
Yeah.
specifically for her. Too old to sleep on the ground and bougie now.
I'm getting it, and I can't sleep in a hammock. Those things kill me.
A
But
hammock is so relaxing though. That's like zero gravity. How could you not like that?
because your backside gets extremely cold, even in
Uh,
the summer,
okay, I guess I could see that.
you have to pack a separate under blanket, and then they're not comfortable for me. I sleep on my side, not on my back.
Oh, that would be like your neck would be like craned up.
Yeah,
Drew is an oven, so as long as I had him in the hammock with me,
yeah.
he
I
would
mean,
keep
I
me.
can relax in one for a little while. I can lay in one and read a book, but if to
Nice.
actually sleep, I have to be on my side. And being an old prospector, I have to carry everything in and then carry even more out when I go into the wilderness, or back when I
Yeah.
did. But I couldn't. I would pack a tarp, and that would be my shelter. And I'd make my own bed. I'd carry a wool blanket with me, and that was it. Everything
Wow.
else I just got on site.
Wool is pretty perfect though.
Wool is the most amazing insulation to date. We've
Yeah.
got all these space age materials that are supposed to be better than wool,
Mm-mm.
right up to the minute you get them wet.
Yeah. Wet, or
Wool
even
will,
like the way it repels dirt and the
yeah.
warmth level, like nothing is warmer. I have huge coats that aren't as warm as a wool duster that I have. It's just a
Mhm.
long, I look like John Lennon when I'm wearing it. Back to the 70s. But it's the warmest thing. And when
It
I
is.
wear it in the winter, I feel like people look at me like, oh, she's too poor to afford a coat. And I'm like, this is warmer than any coat that I
Yeah.
have.
That's like I wear the old Woolrich and Pendleton wool shackets,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
stuff.
that's cool.
I don't care if I look old fashioned or weird.
Those are
That stuff
trendy
is
right
cool.
now.
Yeah. Well, especially out here in the Pacific Northwest, there's all
You guys
the
are kind of weird out there, though. That's where they wear socks and Birkenstocks.
yeah. That's if they're wearing shoes.
They are a little crunchy. I might fit in over there somewhat.
No, you wouldn't.
No?
No. One of these, I'm going to start. My watch repair shop is in the middle of the main drag through town. And there is a motel right across the street from me that a lot of bad things go on there daily. And it spills across the street sometimes. I'll start taking videos of some of this mess. It's bad.
We are not weird. No. I want to visit the Pacific Northwest. That's like one of the I've been all over this country, but I've not toured the Pacific Northwest. And I've only been to Southern California. I've not even been to Northern
Yeah.
California. And so I think it would be a lot of fun to visit your neck of the woods.
It is beautiful up here. And the further you get away from the interstate corridor, I-5, the better.
Yeah.
All the bad stuff in this state is all on the interstate.
And Noelle's over there. I need to come visit her sometime.
Yeah. She's just right up the road from me. Well,
Really?
it's probably 5 or 6 hours tops, and depending on traffic.
She knows.
I'm at the south end of Oregon, and she's right across the border in Washington, north of me. So it's probably about a 5-hour drive from me.
I'm with Scott. Like the Pacific Northwest and as a whole would be amazing. Just not like I don't want to go to Seattle.
Yeah, the cities up here are terrible. Stay away from the cities, and you'll find all the good stuff.
Yeah.
The coast is great. Crater Lake is an hour from me. The Redwoods are an hour from me. The beach is just another 20, 30 minutes past the Redwoods. We've got a place called the Oregon Outback, which is high desert.
Everyone in your chat right now is really offended by that. The fact that I said weird. You guys might not last as rednecks because we're called weird quite a bit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, I live in the South and I speak with the Southern accent, so we get called weird a lot.
I came from a place in East Texas. There's a small community there called Caney Head. This place is so unique that in the 70s, National Geographic did a story about them.
What's so unique about it?
Well, no running water, no electricity.
Oh,
People
I wonder if it's still like that today.
No, it's advanced a lot since the
Okay.
70s, but the people and how they are and how they act are still pretty much the same.
Hmm.
So yeah, I know weird.
I mean,
grew up around it.
and we live in like a small town in the South where like nobody really ventured. I feel like we're on an island sometimes. And then our family is like those vegan ultra marathoner like weirdos. You know what I mean? Like people, we're self-employed, where I'm on the internet. People are like, do you have an actual job? Yeah, I resell. And they're like, well, what else do you do for money? I'm like, and then I'll mention, heaven forbid I mention YouTube. They're like, you can make money on YouTube? They have absolutely no idea. So trust me, like I'm looked at as weird a lot. Yeah, Scott, not small town. Like I think Penelope's like 750 people.
I spent a good portion of my childhood in a little town called Honey Island, Texas.
Honey Island. That's so cute.
Yeah. It dates back to the Civil War age, and it was a place where people who didn't want to be in the war would hide out. And in fact, there was a general that came through, and he set the woods on fire to try to get all these defectors. And
wow.
And it is an actual island. It's a little spot that's just completely surrounded by Cypress Creek with branches and comes back together. The census has never been welcomed there. So at best guess, there's 200 or 300 people there, tops.
Scott, I really thought that it was 750. He says town's 181 people.
That's not a town. That's a community.
That is, yeah. I
think there's more people in that just in my neighborhood here in Oregon.
I was trying to look up and see how far it was from Penelope to Midland because there's 2 people in Texas I really want to visit, Scott and Christopher, and they're so far away from each other. I'm like, I could still make a trip out of it, I think.
Yeah, it goes back to me telling you how big Texas is.
It is. Well, Missouri's the same way. I could leave my house and get to Florida before I could get to the far northwest corner of Missouri.
I used to go to Missouri a lot doing the shows. I'd take 55 all the way up to St.
Oh,
Louis.
yeah, I'm like an hour south of Cape Girardeau where 55 runs by.
How far from Sykeston are you?
Oh, not far, like 17 miles south.
Oh, so yeah, we used to stop at the Lamberts all the time when we'd
Home
go
of
through
the
there.
road rolls, where they
Yeah,
throw your food at you and make you so anxious because you're not going to catch it and you'll end up wearing it all over your face.
yeah.
Yeah, I've been there once. I-35, I never heard of 35, Scott. I'm not sure where that is.
Yeah, I-35 goes through central Texas. It goes basically from Houston up to Dallas. And actually, it goes through Dallas and then it goes all the way up to Chicago. Is that right, Scott?
I wonder where it crosses through in Missouri. It must be like Mountain Home or like
I don't know
somewhere.
that it goes through Missouri.
Maybe it died. There, the road that's out near me, like less than a mile from my house, they're turning it into an interstate so that it can go all the way down to like Little Rock, because there's nothing that connects Chicago to Little Rock, I think is what they're trying to connect.
Duluth, Minnesota, yeah. So it goes up 35. You remember a couple of years back they had the interstate bridge that collapsed?
No, but that sounds terrifying. Thanks for
It
unlocking that
was,
fear.
and it's a few years ago anyway. That was I-35.
Okay, it's far west. It must be near like Joplin and Springfield and stuff. That's like a good 4 to 6 hours from me. That's terrifying. Why would you say that out loud?
Well, that's the only thing that came to mind. That's the only newsworthy thing I can remember about.
You sound like my sister.
I-35.
She always tells me like tragic news stories. I'm like, what? Odd numbers run. Oh, yeah, that's true.
Mhm.
Yes, even numbers are east and west because you can remember even and east both start with an E. That's like such an ingenious system. Yeah, the interstate system's actually like pretty revolutionary both for its time and even today, I feel like.
If you know much about the history of the interstate system,
Just a bit. Like I learned a bit
Eisenhower
about
was
it.
the one who came up with it or
Yeah.
implemented it and started it. But interstates are supposed to have long sections that can be used as airfields for landing strips for airplanes. And there's also a law that says you cannot have a straight section that is longer than 6 miles. It's a safety thing.
To keep people from going too fast?
No, to keep people from getting complacent, falling asleep. Have you ever been across
like highway hypnosis?
Yeah, there's a spot going across the Salt Lake, and
Never been there.
Yeah, I can't remember which interstate it is. 70, I think, it goes across. And when you're going across the Great Salt Lake over there, it is so monotonous and so straight that they've got signs up everywhere that says, if you're feeling lethargic, pull over, stop, do whatever. But somebody came up with these rumble strips that you could put across, and they never implemented them. But when they showed them, somebody came up with a way to put the rumble strips in at such intervals that it would actually play a song as you
I've been on a musical highway. There's one in New Mexico. Yeah. I've been on one.
They do have some there, but it's just to wake you up. But yeah, that thing, whatever it is about that stretch of highway, and I've been known to drive 26 hours straight and be okay. But that little stretch of highway, it's I don't know, 40, 50, 60 miles long. Oh. It will put you to sleep.
Well, hopefully the rumble strip doesn't play a lullaby. The one that I went to, it's just outside of Albuquerque, New Mexico, and we ventured off to it. And I'm trying to remember now the song that it plays. I can't believe I don't remember. But you purposely get off onto the rumble strip and it plays a song, and it's so cool right outside of Albuquerque.
Yeah. You have to be doing the exact speed limit for it to work.
Yes, it's so cool. We videotaped it, and I got that videotaped as if we had like a huge camcorder. Like I recorded it, and it's around here somewhere. What's up, Roman?
Hey, Roman. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, we did the whole Route 66 thing for like 25 days with the kids, and what a fun experience. But we did all those little, all the Cadillac Ranch, and there was like a Volkswagen version of that we went and saw. and of course the Grand Canyon, the Hoover Dam, like Hollywood Walk, and we hiked up to the Hollywood sign and saw Santa Monica Pier, like 9 states in 25 days, and just this. And that was when we were still had guardianship over Abby, and she had never left our county. And that was our summer road trip. It was so fun. I just want these kids to know that there's like a life outside of, like I say, this island that we live on, because you can really get the mentality. Like there's people here that just think if you wander into a big city, you're not coming back. They really think that it's just unsafe to travel the world. And I'm like, there's a lot of safe places if you're just, like, don't be dumb and just stare at your phone the whole time. Like, be vigilant, watch the people around you. But there's so many like cool experiences that you can like see in our country. I wish more people would travel.
I've traveled. I've actually lived in my current house that we bought 4 years ago now. It's the longest I've lived in a single place in my entire life, and I'm in my 50s.
Wow.
2 or 3 years is usually it. Now, I've stayed in the same area. In fact, this is the longest I've stayed in one area. I've lived here in Oregon now for 11 years, 10 or 11, something like that. But yeah, this is the longest I've ever stayed in one place consecutively.
Yeah, well, I have lived in this. This is the first house I ever bought. I bought this house when it was 3 days before I turned 21. So I was 20 years old when I bought this house. And so we're like,
what, last year?
17 years here. Yeah. I won't sell it until my oldest graduates high school. And then I could live anywhere. Like I can do my job from absolutely anywhere. Drew, I'm sure, could do his job from anywhere. So I don't know where we'll move.
I could use an electrician for a few days.
He's so smart too. He almost has our bathroom done, and he's just like, he's so handy. He's good at all the carpentry stuff. He won't only do plumbing for me though.
I'm decent at carpentry, really good at plumbing.
Yeah.
But when it comes to arcing and sparking, I'm scared of it.
Yeah, a lot of people
change out like a light switch or an outlet, but that's
arcing and sparking. I'm going to tell him you said that.
Well, I've been hit with high voltage before.
Oh.
It's not fun.
Yeah, I know. I'm always like, I love you, honey. Be safe today, because he's good at what he does. But I'm always like, please be safe.
Yeah, it don't take but an instant to get hit, and it can be bad.
Yeah, I have a friend that's a lineman.
I woke up.
Yeah, he got hit recently with that, and like the book for what to do. I mean, it just happened like a couple weeks ago. The book for what to do after what he went through was a dead man like, and he walked out of the hospital with like Band-Aids on his hand. And it's just like God alone did that.
Well, what's bad is
prayers.
Sometimes people they have no apparent problem, and then like 3 days later their system shorts out. Their heart just stops.
Oh, that's
so. Yeah, that's why they like, when you get hit with high voltage, they like to keep you for a couple of days.
Wow. Yeah, he did stay several days in the hospital. Maybe that's why.
Yeah, everything could be fine. You're like, yeah, it hurt, but I feel fine now. They're like, yeah, wait.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm betting Drew knows about it. You can be hit and be 2 days before anything takes effect.
My dad has done electrical in the past. Also, he's not an electrician now, but he has been, and owned his own company as well. And they'll talk electrical talk, and I'm just like, womp, womp, womp. I have no idea what they're saying. And they're always like, it's not the voltage, it's the amps, or vice versa. I don't know.
Yeah.
That'll get you. And it's funny because when I met Drew, he shares the same birthday with my dad. They have so much in common. And then my mom's like, what does he do? And I was like, you're not going to believe this. He's an electrician. Like, they're very similar.
Yeah. I got hit with 460 when I was in the Navy, and I woke up in the hospital. I got tired of being there, and I got really bored. So the little heart patch monitor, I would take it off, and the machine would flatline, and the alarms would go off, and then I'd stick it back on, act like I was asleep when they'd all come running in.
Stop it, you evil man.
Yeah. Well, they caught me doing it and kicked me out. So
Oh, wow. Marie said she's one of those people that everything shocks her. I've been shocked twice. So one time I was working at this diner. It's like a reproduction of a 50s diner. So it looks like one of those train cars. And inside they had neon lights. Well, we did this one day where we shut down the whole day and just deep clean because that place needed to be deep clean. Restaurants are so gross. And
Yeah.
I was on the step stool cleaning the neon, and I had no idea that you couldn't just grab a hold of neon lights like
Ooh,
that. And
yeah.
I did, and I was like, that shocked me. It didn't really hurt that bad, but this other time actually hurt. So shortly after I moved in this house, I was taking out our house has natural gas. So you have to have carbon monoxide detectors, and there was one
Uh-huh.
plugged into the wall. And when I unplugged it, the plug didn't come with it, just like the outer housing did. And
Yep.
like an absolute moron, I blame it on me being like 20 years old at the time. Okay. I went to grab it and put one finger on one wire and one finger on the other, just grabbed it, completed the
Mhm.
circuit. And I was like,
Yep.
I really shocked myself that day.
Literally
Yeah.
and figuratively.
It was so bad. I called my dad immediately and I was like, so if you get electrocuted, is there anything you should look for? Do I need to like monitor myself? Because I was home alone too. So bad.
Yeah. Well, my wife just hit me up on the phone and told me my dinner is ready. And
Oh
we've
yeah,
been on
I
here
think you
about
were like
an
an
hour
hour
over. But hey, I've really enjoyed it too. I'm glad you came in, and we're going to have to probably sit down and just make a little short podcast
Yeah.
to actually do what this show was supposed to do, and that would be tell people how to avoid what happened to you.
Oh, yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, tell me sometime and I'll jump on and all your chat's been so active tonight. Thanks for being here, everybody.
I know I've been trying to keep up with it, but
It's a
I'm one
lot.
of those guys. I can't walk and chew gum at the same time.
Yeah, it's a lot to try to read the chat at the same time that you're talking to a guest, and sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah. Well, anyway, hey, I appreciate everybody that came in tonight. And Rachel, thank you so much for coming on my show tonight and being my first ever guest.
Well,
I
I'm
really do
thrilled.
appreciate it. And we'll have to do it again. Like I said, we'll have to come up and do a little collab, 30, 40-minute video at
Yeah.
tops, probably do it faster than that. But it's one of those things a lot of people need to know, and we'll get to that eventually. So with that, everybody have a great Thanksgiving, eat lots, and we'll see you next week.
And Roman says don't put bourbon in your turkey as stuffing.
No, I put the bourbon in the eggnog.
You just drink the bourbon.
I might do some of that too.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.